Hi, welcome to the Prednisone Warriors with Dr. Megan page. We have a guest today. This is so exciting. We have Brittany. She has taken prednisone for a long time and she's tried everything. And so we're going to hear what she has found that has worked. She's going to give us her best tips of how she has managed to even lose weight while on prednisone. So Brittany, tell us your story. How did you end up on prednisone?
Sure. Thanks for having me. So 13 years ago, I was diagnosed with acute rheumatoid arthritis, and then that led to a secondary diagnosis of thyroiditis, Hashimoto's diagnosis as well. And so when I was diagnosed, I was in a very bad place. And so I was immediately prescribed 60 milligrams of prednisone per day, just to get me back up and running and back in life. And so, and then I, of course, started through the journey of which medications would make the most sense for my condition. And that literally turned into a 4 or 5 year journey of some pretty significant weight gain and just me trying to navigate through prednisone. I didn't even know what I didn't know, and my diagnosis and my inflammation and all of the things. And so fast forward to 5 or 6 years into my journey, I came across a program that was my answer. And so what it was a program that was described to me as it was created and developed by doctors. It is grounded in science, and it is genuinely based upon healthy body first and healthy mind, and finding the program that makes the most sense for you. And what the program is a really simple program where I started to eat 6 meals a day, 2.5 to 3 hours apart, making sure that I was drinking a lot of water. And 5 of those 6 meals were already taken care of for me. And so at that point in my life, I genuinely didn't have the room in my brain to start to meal plan and to start to coordinate and facilitate the perfect diet. I just didn't. It was so overwhelming because I was, dealing with other things. And so the principles of it are every single meal is the perfect macronutrient profile. And what that means is it's 110 calories. It has just the right balance of protein, carbs, and fat. So it is not keto. And it's loaded with minerals and vitamins. And it is a clean product that has been approved globally, and it's been approved to go into Whole Foods, just to give you an idea of the quality of the product. And it is genuinely super simple. You eat within 30 minutes of waking up, and then you set I literally set my timer, and every 2.5 to 3 hours as I went through my day, I would have my next and my next and my next. I made 1 meal a day on my own, which was a healthy protein with healthy greens and a healthy fat. And then, like I said, the other 5 were already made for me. The other part that came with it that really helped me was an incredible community. And what I found was it was a community of so many people with so many stories very similar to my own. And I could immerse myself in it as much or as little as I wanted to. And I was able to connect and explore other people who might be in the same situation I was. So it was just such a positive, structured program that I needed. And like I have shared, I did lose, most recently last April, I lost 40 pounds in 4 months. And then my bigger win, which I love to share, is when I had originally started it years ago, I lost like 87 pounds in 8 months on prednisone, plus probably 3 or 4 other medications.
Wow, that's fantastic. to hear when people can actually lose weight and still take prednisone. And you
Yeah.
mentioned on a comment when I asked on the page, what do you like to eat as a snack? And you said, I don't eat snacks. I don't get hungry in between meals. And so you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Sure. So, yeah, it's amazing. So what happens is the program works in a way where within 3 days of starting, when you follow the program as intended, you go into fat burn. And so genuinely, because I was eating every 2.5 to 3 hours throughout my day, I the first 2 days, of course, there was, an adaptation for my body to like turn into, convert into, if you will, fat burn. And but once I was in fat burn and on the program and eating every 2.5 to 3 hours, there were truly days I almost had a hard time getting it all in, versus coming from a place of, I was kind of all over the place. I mean, I was winging it every day, working more than full time, raising children, trying to coordinate all these meals, and it was just a free for all. So the structure of it and the every 2.5 to 3 hours, and I believe, being nourished with minerals and vitamins, I wasn't hungry. I mean, I just didn't need a snack. I didn't need anything more. I worked at making sure I got all 6 in versus, not really kind of grabbing things and just randomly not having a plan.
And so what did you eat before when you were gaining weight on prednisone compared
Sure.
to what's in these meals that you're eating now?
Sure. So before that, I've learned so much. I like to say, like, I genuinely learned how to eat on this program, and I really believed that I knew how to before. Um, so before that, grilled, I was always making chicken and the vegetables and making sure that there was brown rice, or, the typical, right, American family meal, where I'm a mom. And so I wanted to make sure that my kids were getting healthy nutrition. And so I really believed that I was providing that. But what I have come to learn was, number one, how much less food I needed. I was a volume eater for sure. And so I learned that when you have the perfect balance, especially the protein and the fat, that it completely cancels out that ravish for carbs. So I came from, carbs were my thing. I would fill myself up with carbs. Of course, the prednisone was generating that. I drank diet soda. I had pasta and brown rice, and and again, my first thought was the carb part, and I completely flipped to learning that, wow, when I have, you know the right amount of protein and the right amount of fats balanced with the correct amount of carbs, I actually started to crave proteins. So that was probably the biggest shift for me. And that's genuinely how I have fed my family, and how my grown children now eat, that it's that whole lean protein, whatever it is that you like, complemented with those healthy greens, especially, and then just that little bit of carbs. And before then too, I had gone to a nutritionist, and I'd had a dietitian advise me through my doctor when I was in the midst of my diagnosis and everything, and they were definitely telling me to eat, the 5 to 6 small meals throughout the day. I just had the profile completely wrong. I was trying, and I was grocery shopping and grabbing the things that I knew would work, and I was throwing things together, and I was off. And so once I dialed it in with the gift of these pre-made meals for me that I could plan and you know, in the morning I would leave for work. I would have my, I had my cupboard at home. I had my lunchbox for the day, and I had set myself up for success without ever meal prepping anything. And then I had the mind space to get home and make the perfect dinner that, you know, made sense. And yeah, so it was just amazing, because I just, you know, this program tweaked it all for me. It did the science for me. It was already figured out. And then as I went through the program, I learned so much. The program also comes with an incredible life book that is, you know, just a page a day that I would read, and I would journal, and I would learn. And I just, you know, it was a journey. It was not a quick fix. It was a journey. And, you know, fast forward to today, you know, and I would never make any medical claims. That's not what this is about, but I don't have inflammation. I have no pain. I am now down to 5 milligrams of prednisone that I will wean off of, you know, and I did, so it's just, it works. It works. And, you know, when over all the years, anytime I did the program correctly, it was the one thing I could count on. And yeah, and I have my before here. I can hold it up, my before and after. That is, you know, I even think back and I just don't even know that person. But you know, there is my before and after.
Oh my goodness. That's like two
And that
different
was
people.
8 months. Yeah, that was 8 months on the program. Just, you know, following it. I became the student, you know. I
Mm-hmm.
just listened to my coach, and she coached me through. And my coach was someone who had coached over 1,000 people to health. And so it was a pretty amazing journey.
That is amazing. So your prednisone journey, you've been on 60 milligrams. Is that the highest you've been on?
Yes, 60 was the highest.
And you were on that for a while, and now you're on 5. Can you talk more about your prednisone dose and compare that to like your weight and how that's
Sure,
been, like how you've been able to manage it depending on the dose, kind of a deal?
sure. So when I was on the 60, I felt out of control. I did. I felt like I had no control. um, and I was on that on and off for like 2 years in the beginning of my diagnosis. And I had incredible doctors, you know, who they wanted to get me off of the prednisone every bit as much as I wanted to get off. But my challenge was I was on hydroxychloroquine and methotrexate and Enbrel and Humira, and I had a reaction to the biologics. I was allergic. And so through that process, I was on a roller coaster with prednisone. Sometimes it was 60, then we'd try 40, then we'd try 20, and then I'd be up to 40. So I just remember that time and those years of like, as soon as I could count on something like a biologic or the hydroxychloroquine or whatever, they stopped working for me, or I had a reaction to them. And so ultimately landed at 20 milligrams of prednisone for a long time. I'd say like 7 years, just kind of almost giving into it and saying it is what it is and we'll figure it out. But this program, this way of eating was my hero. That became my saving grace, because then I felt like I could manage anything. You know, I didn't have the excess weight. I could stay within, you know, my pretty ideal healthy weight, give or take 10 or 15 pounds, and just always dial it back in then. So it helped me to manage it. But yeah, I mean, as recent as, you know, a couple years ago, just having a flare, you know, and again, then saying, okay, we're going to give you a quick zap of that 5-day protocol. I've done that more times than I would care to admit. And then it brings me back in, and then I do the 20. And again, it always comes back to, you know, me saying, okay, go to what I know, go to this this way of eating that supports whether I'm on 5 or 60 or 20. And it works. I haven't gained weight in the last 2 or 3 years like I ever did in the beginning.
That's awesome. Just there's so many factors that are important when you're trying to manage your appetite and your weight and all of those things. And it sounds like this covers so many of them. Some people are very self-motivated and can do things on their own, but others need that community support. They need the full behavior change that sounds like comes from this journal. I can't remember what you called it, but that journal. And
Yeah.
then it, life is hard. Coming up with 6 meals a day is really hard.
Yes.
And
It
you're like,
is.
it's hard enough to come up with that one good meal, right? And
Yes.
so
Yes.
I mean, this all sounds like for a person who's on prednisone that it covers so many of the bases that you need. And
Yes.
every person's different in what they need as to support them in their health and their journey through this,
Right.
through prednisone side effects, especially the weight gain. And so I love hearing every person who succeeds and what actually helps them succeed. So is there anything else you'd like to add?
Sure. So just in closing, I guess would like to add, I hope I said it earlier, but the magic of this program and why I believe it worked so well for the prednisone is that the whole point of the program is to balance your blood sugars. By doing what it recommends, it balances your blood sugar, it brings down your inflammation, your sleep improves, and the huge win from the program is focus, like mental clarity and mental focus, so that you can navigate through. So I think that's most important. And like I said, I just have a ton of empathy and compassion for anyone who has gone through any kind of autoimmune disease. I can relate. I've been there. And so I just want to add value. I love Dr. Megan's group. I'm in it every day, and I just love her videos and listening to all of her wisdom. I've taken her Nutranize product for a few years now. I mean, my husband as well. We love it. And so, yeah, I just want to share, and I just want to make sure that everybody has the information because it was a gift. It was such a gift to me. And so if there's any way that, I could help support anybody to get you more information and get you connected to the right program, please comment below or PM me. I would be more than happy to support you and help you in any way I can.
That is so generous of you. Thank you, Brittany. I I didn't realize that the goal was to balance blood sugars, and that's really what is so
Huge.
necessary for people on prednisone because it's a glucocorticoid, which means the number one thing it's messing with is your glucose, your blood sugars. So
Yes.
finding
Yeah.
something that can support that aspect is so valuable. And
Yes.
yeah, just comment below if you have any questions for Brittany. And then I'd love to hear other people's success stories. So if you have something that's helping you, I'd love to hear it. I can interview you too, and we can share even more ways to succeed while on prednisone. Signing off as Dr. Megan, your prednisone pharmacist.